To continue on the topic of Corbola, the future city atop Masada, or at least that is the point on the earth that registers with it in the future new earth. And we're continuing with it because it is a very important part of the whole TEMPLA MAR grid, understanding how that grid works, and the key activator, I guess you could say, not so much activator, but controller of the TEMPLA MAR. If you had a module that was the controller module that made certain decisions in regard to its the template and how that template operates, that would be Corbola with respect to the TEMPLA MAR matrix. So I'm going to read to you something I wrote in 2011, which refers back to previous material, some of which I probably read to you just in the last video of this series, but it's important to bring it back into focus to correlate with what I'm going to say next here in this 2011 article. Corbola was first introduced to me by Thoth Hara in the early 1990s. Below are some excerpts from my previous material on this subject. Thoth reveals to me that now in the 21st century, Corbola is taking a more active role in the bridging of worlds between our old current Earth and the new Earth of Numis Om. So as Corbola is situated on a unique node, it receives in cyclic phases encodings from both realms, which then form a synergy of communion, allowing souls from both world realities to attune to one another in dream time and often in waking vision or simply feeling essence. Now, considering that souls in our current Earth incarnation are also in Numis Om, if one leaves the illusion of time sequencing behind, we can communicate with ourselves in the greater world dimension of our future via the Corbola link with Numis Om. Corbola, which we are calling a city, is really more of a dimensional gathering, encompassing more than just the main structures atop what is in this current reality, the large flat-topped mountain in Israel by the Dead Sea, known as Masada. This location bears a tragic history for the Jews, but was sacred ground long before that and is a key node in the future for our current connection to the new earth of Numis Om. Corbola works synergistically as the main node or trigger for what Thoth calls the TEMPLA MAR grid. Corbola is poised on the very edge of worlds between the old and new earth. It has a unique position in consciousness as well, acting as a major anchor for the TEMPLA MAR net to haul the new earth fishes into the next world system, what we are calling the new Earth Star. Now that was, what I just read you was excerpted from my article Corbola, City Out of Time. Now in 2011, I'm being shown that Corbola is at the hub of a complex station of light with what Thoth is calling Quayside geometries, multi-layered around it. Quayside geometries are crystallized quasar bursts from the crystal quasar, a cosmic dynamic uniting all quasars in the universe, radiating within high-frequency crystalline sheaths, creating and controlling all quasar through a pure, undiluted language of light. The bursts become crystallized in high-frequency geometrical patterns when they are drawn, or rather summoned, by a tone emitted by merkabic fields of light, living light, which have been and are being created through synergistic action between human beings and the angelic realm. These human beings are in a higher frequency dimension than our current world. They are able to create massively powerful merkabic fields with the interpolation of angelic waveforms. The Quayside geometries can come together to form various pathways, like computer circuitry designed for specific functions. The Corbolan masters have created Quayside circuitry for the purpose of maintaining a multitude of temple cities in various dimensions and space-time. These temple cities are inhabited vehicles of living light, streaming from the interaction of the Corbolan merkabic fields and the angelic waveforms. Humans can actually exist inside these temple cities in subtle body states. These subtle bodies are flesh and cellular in nature, along with their 14-strand DNA, yet they do not experience entropy, for they are of the pure gem frequency. The purpose of the Quayside temple cities. Each of these temple cities is connected to neurons in the human brain, any and all human brains of Earth. These specific neurons form in our brains what Kyi'Ra refers to as the Golden City. As I wrote in my article on the Golden City, this Golden City is an energy field which projects images that are sustainable in the consciousness of certain Numis-Ohm inhabitants for the purpose of imbuing them with the energies they are seeking for the next stage transformation. Because time is loosely held in the new earth, we here in the current world reality may find ourselves experiencing this city in our new earth bodies, perhaps in dream time, or in visions or momentary flashes. Beyond the projected imagery, the Golden City is a neural hub in the center of newly forming pathways in the brain. We are only just beginning to form this new neural hub, but those in the new Earth star will, and do, have it far more developed. Its purpose? To supply the pure gem body with the gate to the next stage of universal continuum, which we are calling World System 2. This is the state in which Numis-Ohm is the threshold, and of course Numis-Ohm is the first stage of the new Earth star. The temple cities spinning in a merkabic field around Corbola are aspects of the whole Golden City consciousness being projected through the brains of the Corbolans and beyond. For the Golden City does not begin and end with the human brain. That is only the synaptic mechanism in the elemental state. Corbola, the inhabitants, and those inhabiting the revolving Quayside temple cities of Corbola, they are all part of a complex neural circuitry of the universal brain-mind intelligence. And so are we. Corbola and the temple cities form a major synapse in the multidimensional creational field we call Earth, which is much more than a round sphere floating in space. It is all and everything we are. We all search for our purpose in life. Purpose is so important to human beings. It is hardwired within us. Yet as incarnated souls, we have lost the true scope of what purpose truly means. It is not to define a goal, but to become fully present within our creation. You might see the world goal as being defined by a straight line, with one end the impetus and the other the realized conclusion. Purpose, however, is toroidal. It continues to supply a sense of motion, yet abides in stillness, as it is a place of complete centeredness. When one finds that place, purpose is profoundly present, and yet it does not call you to action. It calls you instead to attention. Let me repeat that. Purpose does not call you to action. It calls you instead to attention. Corbola and its Golden City function is a place in space-time, in our future, but it is also an energy field very much present inside our DNA and brain. It is the pure gem being we are and will become. The Corbolans that create the Quayside temple cities, they accommodate them via the Merkabic fields which they do create. The Merkabas of the Corbolans draw in the Quayside crystalline structures which form what we are referring to here as temple cities. Corbola then maintains the grid for the cities to access planier degrees of Earth, adapting our planet and our physical circuitry as human beings to World System 2 dynamics, the operational system of the new Earth star. Now let us move into Corbola, the city atop what is now the rock plateau of Masada, near the Dead Sea in Israel. It was to this high place that Thoth guided myself and Simeon, my former husband, Simeon Nartumin, to physically visit in 1997, along with a few friends, after we had concluded facilitating a sacred journey to Egypt and the Sinai. The image you see behind my avatar is one I created, and it represents one of the crystalline temples of Corbola. It's in the Mira complex. It's not the one mentioned before, not the White Pyramid. This is another one. And, you know, when I say another one, I'm not exactly sure how that works. Perhaps the White Pyramid suddenly becomes this. You know, we're dealing with manifestational dynamics far beyond our current reality. So all I can say is this is the one that appeared to me in 2011, whereas the one that appeared to me in the 1990s was a White Pyramid. So that's how it goes. I will continue now. And now to continue with my 2011 article. Returning to the Masada Plateau, it is not a bare ruin, for we find it now a thriving, shining city. There are no people rushing around, as there would be in a city as we understand them. Yet humans are present. They walk slowly and with purpose. Give me while I turn a page. There are no crowds, as the population is in accord with the energy field of Corbola, balanced in the equation of space and time. In other words, what we have now in life is a very chaotic state because we are not balanced in our energy field. So people are rushing around, they're thinking ahead of themselves, they're overthinking, they're underthinking. And as they do all of this, their body movements, their motions, their decisions they make and where they go and what they do is all tied up in that frequency of chaos. And so now when we look out at the city and we see all these people mulling around like ants, we think this is the normal thing, but it's not. In the city of Corbola, for instance, the New Earth cities, we see people walking with purpose, and they are, as I explained in one of my other previous videos in the New Earth, you only see the people you're intended to interact with at the time. You don't see the other people. So it's a whole different format that we're working with there. To continue, all buildings are either white or light in color. Everything and everyone has a glow to it, and yet one can see clearly the fine definitions of it all. While there is a lightness of color shared in the city, there are also points of outstanding color. This is mostly to be found in the foliage, the greenness of grass and trees, and the beautiful array of flowers. This is how one will see and experience in the New Earth, for Corbola is that bridge between and exists with World System 2 dynamics. Your attention is now drawn to a temple in the center of the city. This is the temple of Mira. It is not like anything else you will see in the city. The entire complex of the temple is surrounded by beautiful gardens. The inner courtyard contains finely charged crystalline sand. In the center of this field is the temple. Mira is encapsulated in its own energy space, separate from the rest of the city. So we would say that what is being said here is there's one temple. Well, when I saw it before, it was a white crystalline temple, all sparkly. When I saw it in 2011, it looks like this building behind here, although I've cut off the bottom of it now. I'm just showing the top. But as you can see, there is a pyramid in the center of it. And actually, in the article that I presented this image that I created 2 other images of this same temple in different colorations because it was changing color as I saw it. So what we're talking about here is a temple that can morph into a lot of different, images. It's all crystalline, but in different shapes. The temple is not a building in which you would enter and abide in. It is made of pure crystal created through high alchemy using sound. As you see in image on the screen, it is a pyramid within a sphere. This whole structure is what you might call an interdimensional star chamber. Persons entering the temple stand on a platform, not seen in my images, at some distance from the temple, yet still within the inner courtyard. The sand acts as a medium of transfer. The individual chants a tone that opens the transfer passage, and then the temple identifies that person via their DNA. Once this stage is accomplished, that individual will be transported through the temple into another dimensional Quayside realm or temple city. The temple cities of Corbola are the cities that they enter. So this is a type of dimensional reality that escapes us now. We're cut off from it, but it is returning. It is returning to us. And because we are now embraced by the pyramidus radius, that's even embracing the TEMPLA MAR, which is the main functional dynamic of connecting to the new earth. But the pyramidus radius is even beyond that because it encompasses all of that. And it allows all those functions to find their holistic point of centeredness. And I believe now this concludes our series with the TEMPLA MAR, inclusive of Corbola, the whole New Earth dynamics referencing that, and the golden city of the brain, which is also a golden city in a spatial holographic realm that we could qualify as in within the New Earth as well.